What's up, guys? I'm Carlo, and this is a new podcast I'm starting. And this first one, I got a YINYIN, a Deva TR. Let's get into it. All right. So the first question I want to ask you is, it's actually not even really Blaze related. I wanted to ask you your favorite animated show or series.
Oh, oh, that's difficult. Um, Favorite animated show or series? That's even more difficult when I have to play while doing it. Like, I think I would have to like see a library of things and then pick something.
What
Can
about?
you give me a sample? Because I don't really have anything on top of my head.
Okay. So I think for me, I don't have really a favorite, but I definitely have like a top three. Well, not really in order though. My top three is probably would have to be One Piece, like the anime, and then Avatar, like the show, the first one, not Legend of
Oh
Korra,
yeah, yeah.
and also regular show. I'd say One Piece. I just grew up with it. Avatar. I feel like it taught me a lot of, even though it was a kid show, I feel like it taught me a lot of interesting stuff. And regular show was just purely entertainment. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Avatar was good. I liked the second one, Korra, as well.
I
Like
thought,
especially how each season was its own thing, not the whole stretched out long game.
I uh, I liked Korra a little bit, but I definitely preferred the first one. But Korra was not a bad show. I remember when it came out, people were ragging on it, and I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was just the first, like, when something comes out and it's like golden, or it's like anything that comes after, it's gonna be really hard to top it. That's what I felt like with
Oh yeah, yeah.
Avatar.
But
That's why I felt like,
they did good
yeah.
based on that. Aren't they like doing a in between thing now? I think I heard something about that, like
Not sure.
original Avatar team, but like shortly before Korra, kind of.
I have no clue. I remember I heard a while back they were gonna do something about like there's like they're gonna the next one, it was like, so Aang was like an airbender, right? And then Korra was a
Yeah,
waterbender. And they were gonna
yeah.
just keep going with like, and the next one was supposed to be Earth. I heard rumors about like they were going to do like twins, and one of them was the Avatar, and one of them wasn't. That's what I heard, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not too invested.
So, you can you name your favorites, or still it's too hard?
Nah, not really. Like, I wouldn't even have a top three. I know that there are good things, like anything Ghibli is great, but usually most animated things are a little too, I don't know, simple. Like the production value usually isn't good enough to really say, oh, I like this.
Okay. Ghibli's
Like,
pretty good.
I think one thing I could probably mention is Red Line. Do you know that?
Redline? No. Is it a what is it?
It's it's more of a movie uh, about a race. Like it starts off, the intro is basically a race called Yellow Line, which is a qualifier for the Red Line, and it's pretty crazy.
I'll check it out. Never heard of it. Uh, so, all right. I guess the next time. Well, okay. So let me tell you why I asked that first. I asked that. I just figured, I do like icebreaker type question, before I really start talking. So yeah, I saw it's kind of a weird question, I know, but the next thing I want to ask you is like actually about Blaze. So, uh, I wanted to ask you, like, how do you feel about like how Blaze is right now, like the current like state of it? I mean, in terms of like balance, like some characters being like better than others, like Switch Candyman being like considered by people like at the top, and then people like Jet or like Lashme at the bottom, like, are you just like satisfied with like how it is?
I'm satisfied how close it is compared to other games. I'm not satisfied in case of like glitches when things don't work the way I would like them to. But generally, it's really hard to balance something when it's already overpowered. Like you can't really nerf Candyman or Switch because it's goddamn fun.
Yeah, true.
Um, and the other way around, it's also always really hard not to get the same situation again with a different character. Uh, like you maybe remember or were you playing early enough that Dice was kind of top at release
No, actually, I got into Blaze
together with Grid.
I got into Blaze pretty
Um,
late, so no, I didn't play release. Actually,
yeah,
I think
so his special activated way faster, and with all the options, it made him more powerful than Switch is now, kind of, or at least that's how it was perceived.
Oh, okay. I've heard about that. Like his special is different, but I never really played at the start. I did kind of play at the start, but I don't think I really played it as seriously as like I did now. I got into it on PlayStation first, and then I just played it super casually with my friends, and then eventually I came over to PC. But I heard like a lot of
Hmm.
characters are different. Like I heard Switch had some weird cancel stuff, and
That's the first game I think.
oh,
Like
okay.
he had flip cancels that don't exist in place, but never did so far as I know. Um, yeah, what surprises me the most is that Jet has kind of completely fallen off. She wasn't considered this low before, and I mean we only ever buffed her, so that's weird to me.
Okay. So, who's your favorite character in this game? Like, just personally your favorite?
Ooh, like as you might have noticed, I keep playing random.
Oh, so you like all of them?
So kind of all of them, but in terms of controls, I think Grid is my favorite.
Oh, okay.
Like how he plays, um, and design. Hmm.
Burton is
I
pretty fun.
think I think Sonata would be my favorite design.
Oh, okay. I think Grid is pretty cool though. Like teleporting around is really fun. I think the combos he has is really cool.
I'm more thinking about of the general movement, like the way he jumps and yeah moves, because he has this low jump, which is kind of annoying at times, but at the same time it feels unique compared to everything else. Like you have these groups of characters, either floaty, middle, or heavy, like Dice and Toxic. And I feel like Grid kind of has its own section because of that.
Yeah, Grid feels like really floaty for like his size. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a little weird, but I kind of like it.
That's also that's one of the few things I actually worked on myself. Like before release, I only had like 2 weeks where I designed a few of the new values for the new designs and characters, like yeah, and also the spike angles. So I was given these 6 new characters, and hey, make them move in a way that makes sense. So for Grid, I had to decide how do I make him feel heavy without actually being heavy like Dice. And the case there was float, like really good float, but a low jump seemed to work well.
It's pretty interesting. Honestly, I don't really know anything about like game design or anything because I literally just play games. So it's kind of interesting hearing like you talking about it and just like the process that went into it and stuff.
I
Oh,
also had him teleport on the double jump, and it's awful. I'm glad Dion removed it.
teleport on the double jump?
Yeah, like he didn't have a double jump. His second jump was a teleport,
Oh,
and it was horrible in my opinion. Like I worked a few days on it, thought, yeah, I mean, he needs something unique, and I left it like this, but I didn't really like it. And yeah, sometimes a lot of things you just try out, and in the end, it gets cut, and you're glad it got cut.
but you think it was bad in like it was too good, or it was bad? It was just like it didn't like fit the character. It didn't work. Like it was.
Didn't work in terms of controls. Like you could teleport in like 3 directions or something, but you didn't have this kind of control with the float. Like every character can float if you hold the button for a while, right? And in the end, you had a lot less control than a normal jump,
Oh, okay.
and it was also much harder to understand.
Okay. So who's your least favorite character? Like, I guess not really like design, but like maybe like when you're versing somebody, like you're like, oh fuck, I'm versing like a Nitro or like a, like who do you now like in the cast, or do you like all of them?
In terms of playing against, it's usually the player, never the character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I play against someone annoying, then it doesn't matter who they play unless they have no idea how to be annoying with the character. Um, and playing myself, I think I'm worst with the heavy characters here, Dice and Toxic, but I still really like them in terms of what they can do.
Okay.
That's fun. But yeah, the fast falling is a bit too much for me usually, so I don't feel I have as much control as the others.
Okay. My favorite character is probably you probably saw before, but Switch. I think it's because mostly this is gonna sound really weird, but mostly like I skateboard a lot in real life, so like I thought he was just really cool when you guys like designed him, because it felt like to me you guys designed him in a way where it was like, like the skate games or the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. It feels like I could literally just be having a skate sesh and killing people at the same time, and you guys made it feel like amazing. Like you guys made it so cool, dude. And then the first one, I feel like it was really good too. Like it was like it was like the same feeling where it was like it feels really cool, but I could just be like skating around, just doing cool tricks, and I could kill people and have fun like all at once. So you guys like designed them perfectly, at least for someone like
Oh
me.
yeah, yeah, he's pretty good. I think it was the second design actually, like after the Flash prototype, where it was only Raptor, which was the first new character.
Wait, so Raptor was like the original character, and then Switch just
Yeah,
everybody else just came after. Oh, that's cool.
yeah, Switch is number 2 essentially, which is also why he has mostly the same angles, except his up angle just goes backwards. It's the same otherwise. And it turns out that was a bad decision balance-wise. But
Yeah,
now
he's pretty strong.
it's kind of ingrained. You can't change that anymore. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I think you designed him. I'll say he is pretty strong in my opinion. Like playing him, he's like my main character. Playing him, I think he's really strong. But like in terms of like fun, you guys definitely like designed him really well. I think just like purely based off of fun. Like I have a lot of fun playing him. My least favorite character, I think I'm kind of the same as you, where I don't really have like a least favorite character, but it just depends on who's playing the character. But if I had to pick,
Same
if I
same thing.
if I had to pick though, it would probably be maybe Nitro, because I feel like I just get thrown off by like people playing Nitro. I don't know what it is, but it's just.
Oh yeah, good nitros are a nightmare.
But
I feel like that's also very fitting for the character.
yeah. to ask is like after BRC, right? You don't have to like I guess say too much, but you guys like have like projects like coming after, or you just like kind of all focused on BRC right now?
Right now, all focus on BRC. There's nothing else that I know of. But I'm sure Dion has other ideas to do.
Okay.
Although I'm not sure if he's just like, hey, we want to do this again and just repeat number 2. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Because oftentimes, like when you do something for the first time, like in this case, this is the studio's first 3D game, like environment 3D. You learn so many things that at the end of it, you know how to do it right. But you couldn't really swap to doing it right mid-development, right?
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you're itching to just do it better. Do it again, but do it better. That's kind of Blaze, in my opinion.
It's cool. It's like, all right. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to ask you any more questions about that. So the next thing I want to ask you is, do you play any other fighting games like besides Blaze?
No, not really, actually. I usually, if I play something else, it's unfortunately something that doesn't have online in case of competitive. So I really like Towerfall, for example. You know what it is?
Powerful?
Towerfall, it's like, Celeste.
Oh, okay, yeah, platformer.
Exactly, and Towerfall is like the previous game from that developer. And it's pretty much the same controls plus bow and arrow shenanigans.
Okay.
And unfortunately only local, and also too fast-paced to really do any remote play. But that's really crazy as well. And the other one, also local only, Chalo Chalo. That's a slow-paced racing game. It's the best I can describe it, and that's usually more about the strategy. And yeah, you would have to look at it if you have the time.
Alright, I'll check out some of these games you recommended me. I'm always down to try a new game.
In this case, you need like at least 3 local players, and it really gets good at like 5 players, and it goes up to 8. And so it's kind of difficult to get people together to play this. So many. I managed to once at our local like Blaze tournaments, and maybe we will repeat that.
Okay. Well, in general though, you don't really play like fighting games. You're more just like into.
Yeah, usually more single player.
Okay. Do you play anything? Are you looking forward to something this year like that's coming out, or you're just more? Are you more into like indie games, not really AAA?
Yeah, all indie games. Like what I'm really looking forward to is Mina the Hollower, like the next game from the Shovel Knight developers.
Oh.
That's essentially the Game Boy Zelda, but completely new setting, characters, everything. But it looks like a Game Boy Zelda, which was, I think that was the first game I owned, actually. So that's very nostalgic.
I play like a mix of both, like indie and AAA, but I guess I don't know what I prefer. I feel like indie games are or not indie games, AAA games. They kind of feel like they get into the point where they're like kind of like Marvel movies, you know, where it's like
Yes.
they're really like over the top, and like sometimes they can be good, and sometimes it's just like they're a little too overhyped, you know.
Well, worst of all for me is that like over half of them have some kind of awful monetization, so it's not really something I can touch. Doesn't work for me. If you have half of your game cut up into loot boxes and extremely varied versions and DLCs and whatnot, I have lost interest.
Yeah, it's true. I think one of the big games I play right now is Overwatch, and it's like I feel like the first one, it already had like monetization problems, right? And then they just
Yeah.
decided to make it even worse in Overwatch 2, and it's just rough, man. They did like the whole battle pass thing, and it's just I don't know where they're going with the game. I think like they also make like a lot of weird choices in terms of like balance and stuff sometimes, you know.
Hmm.
And I think the one thing I do like about the game is that with the balance, they're always constantly changing it. So it's like they have a lot of heroes in that game, but it feels like the way they balance it is that there's always going to be a time where certain characters are better. So if you have like a low tier character, for example, I guess there'll be a time where he'll be top tier. But I don't know, it depends because I think a lot of the stuff they balance on is just like community feedback. So it's like a low tier character, if people don't like him, and the community complains enough, then he just gets nerfed. So, for example, my favorite character in that game is Doomfist, and he's a very low tier character, and they buffed him for like a week. And
A week.
yeah, literally a week. They buffed him for
You
like
had
a
a
week, and in that
you had a week of fun.
yeah, I had a week of fun. So there were so many people that were complaining, and
Imagine missing out on that week.
yeah, and then afterward it was just like they reverted him to like how he was before.
That sounds like a public beta test.
It's kind of what Overwatch is, man. Honestly, like I hate to say it because I do love the game, but at the same time, it's just they do so many frustrating things that I hate. Like, dude, the first game, right? I feel like it was a solid game, you know. The first 2 years, they made a couple like questionable balance choices, right? And you know, then they announced Overwatch 2, right? And then you know what was really crazy is that Overwatch 2 wasn't like you go to the store and download a new game. It was really like you take Overwatch 1 and just update it. Like they weren't even trying to hide it. Like it was literally like kind of like I don't know, just an update to the first Overwatch. Like it didn't really feel like it was Overwatch 2. People saying it's what Overwatch 1.5, and I think they were kind of right. Like it's really just an update or like a patch to the first Overwatch. But I don't know, I still love the game. I'm trash talking and I still I'm like horribly like addicted to it and play it all the time. But yeah. Anyways, that rant aside, I want to ask you. Do you have any questions for me? Like, I've just been asking you questions. Do you want to ask me something?
Oh yeah. Like, how many local tournaments have you played in?
I really only got into it for Blaze, like going to locals. So I've only done 3. Yeah, 3.
3?
Yeah, 3. I did so I did online for a little bit. I didn't really like online tournaments too much. I do see like why people do it. It's a good place to like get better, and some of the best people are in online tournaments. But I just didn't really enjoy it that much, and I was starting to get like place well, and I just figured, you know, I'd go to locals for Blaze because it also gives me like excuses for like travel and stuff. And I was thinking honestly like if there's ever like a local for like Blaze in the EU, I could actually like justify going to the EU and be like, yeah, I just for a video game and I might win money. You know, it's like not like a job, but it's like a hobby, and then I could, I'm not gonna purely just go there to play Blaze, but like I could also just like check out Europe at the same time. So yeah, I've only been to 3. I've been to Climb Cancel. I went to Heatwave 4, which was not the one that just passed, but the one the year before that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was kind of like, I guess it was less of a local and more of like a get together. not to really like
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was just the guy who was hosting it. I think he expected like a lot of people to show up, and there was just me and the TO and somebody, like basically 3 people. But it was really cool. It was really cool still. Like I got second place. The guy in first place, he kind of taught me how to play the game, so I was kind of at a disadvantage.
Okay.
ads.
Yeah, most of our logos look kind of similar. I think we are now kind of 4 regular people, and yeah, Destiny always wins. uh, but it's still good.
Yeah, I still want to go to more Blaze locals. So I think honestly, I also like locals because they're just a lot more fun than online tournaments. I feel like when I do an online tournament, right, like nothing's really changing like how I play this game. Like I'm maybe a little nervous, but like I'm just sitting in my room on a computer, maybe streaming. And when I do an online tournament, nothing really changes. When I went to like Climb Cancel, it was like I traveled to like a different state, and I got to go to that state, and I was never really like visited like that state before, so I also got to check out the city a little bit. And then I got to meet like people in person who play the game and like talking to people, and like it was really cool. It was fun. That's why I think I prefer locals over online. But yeah, I've only been to 3 really for Blaze. I plan to go to some more, but so far only 3. So you went to EU local? You've been to EU locals before?
So I actually started like to do my own tournaments. I think in 2018 in like a gaming bar or something for about. I think I got to do it about a year before they had to close for the pandemic, and before that, for the first game, we had like the official Jawbreakers in the Netherlands, and now, yeah, we had the Hessen Crash, and we do the monthly locals here in Berlin. It's a lot already.
One day I might be over there, honestly. That'd be really
Yeah, I
cool.
still have to like decide and plan on the one that's supposed to be hosted in England. I think that's actually pretty soon, like summer something.
Maybe I should go to that one. I don't know. I was thinking I want to take some trips this year, so I don't know if I would be able to make it this year, but if there was one next summer, I'd probably go that year. But who knows? Honestly, you said it's in the summer, maybe I go. That would be really cool. I think that's pretty much it. That's all the questions I had for you, man. But thanks for agreeing to do this. It's pretty interesting actually talking to you, getting like your insight about the game and stuff.
Yeah, I'm curious who else you're gonna have.
Well, okay, so honestly, for this first episode, right, I didn't want to tell. Like people were asking me because I said I was gonna do a podcast. People were asking me who I'm gonna have on. I kind of wanted to keep you a secret because I figured, like, having you for the first episode would be like such a banger episode. Like, I think it was. Like all the stuff you told me, it was actually really cool. Like, but the second episode, I was gonna have Dodge Drafter, who's like a really technical dice player. I don't know if you know him, but he does a lot of
Yes.
like glitch stuff, like corner stuff, and he's very like super technical, and he plays like I feel like a little bit different than most people, so I figured I would just get him in the second episode. And then the third episode, I was thinking I don't really have like a guest in mind yet, but more like I have like a topic that I want to talk about, like tournaments mostly. So yeah, the third one, I'm not sure yet who I want to ask to have on for tournaments, or just talk about tournaments. But, yeah, and then the fourth one, I think I had a modder. I want to talk about like modding stuff. And that's pretty much it. That's all I have like planned out as of now. I might like come up with more ideas later on, but that's really it.
Whoops. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Nice. But yeah, I guess after this, probably just call it. That's really it for the session, the recording. I kind of ran out of questions, so I can't really think of anything else to ask you. But yeah, if you want to ask me anything, let me know. We just ask away.
How many hours do you have?
1300. I wish it were a lot.
1300.
Yeah, I played this game a while. Even though I started really late, I feel like the past couple years I've been playing this game. I've just been streaming it a lot and playing it a lot.
You caught up. I feel like everyone who gets to the top has at least like 1,000.
Yeah.
Funny, like
At the
at
top.
100 you get kind of good, and then it takes another 900.
Yeah. I also feel like, man, the way you guys made this game, I still feel like I have a lot more stuff I need to like get better at and improve on. So it's kind of weird. Like, I didn't think like when I got to 1,000 hours, I would still be like figuring out like stuff to like do and like learn. But you guys made this game pretty deep. Not gonna lie. Like, I still feel like there's characters that I don't really play that much that I can still like improve like things on. Like, I've seen like clips and stuff and like videos of like nitros looking like they could like literally like infinitely fly, and I think that's
Oh yes.
that's so sick. Like, I want to
Grid
learn
can
them.
do it as well
I want
now.
to learn them. Yeah.
I just looked at my hours. I only have 1,009 to be precise. Although that's Steam, like I have at least a few hundred on Switch as well. But yeah, I think you have more hours than me in general.
Well, thanks for making this game. It's a pretty good game.